And so over the next
Explain double
106
Portuguese? I don't know.
days, we are going
I don't know
to
what that
take
chatter meant.
our case to the American people, and we are going to win.
From the presidential headquarters in Delaware, Vice President Kamala Harris taking over the campaign office from Joe Biden.
We are deeply, deeply grateful for his service to our nation.
Who called into the event while recovering from COVID after stepping down from the race.
Joe, are you watching? You hear this clapping? Can you see it?
I'm watching. I'm watching.
I knew it.
Voters reacting to the news.
I think for her to carry the torch makes sense.
My biggest thing is making sure that Trump doesn't get in the White House. But I really want to know, too, what her policies are. That's the big thing for me.
Harris preparing for her biggest moment yet, as she seems poised to become the first black woman and Asian American to lead a major party ticket. She's been a trailblazer throughout her 30-plus years as a public servant.
I will be the first, but I will not be the last. You know, I was raised by a mother who said that to me all the time.
She's now racked up endorsements, including former Speaker Nancy Pelosi. The newly launched Harris campaign raising a record $81 million in the first 24 hours. As she steps into the spotlight, Harris will face criticisms of her past from both Republicans over issues like immigration and Democrats, wary of her time as a prosecutor and her sometimes bumpy public persona.
I love Venn diagrams. It's just something about those three circles and the analysis about where there is the intersection, right? Yeah, I see people, you agree with me, right? We did it. We did it, Joe.
Some may think of Harris in the context of her memorable moments and comments that have gone viral.
My mother she would give us a hard time sometimes, and she would say to us, I don't know what's wrong with you young people. You think you just fell out of a coconut tree?
This moment, once again, flooding social media.
That clip being on Nightline is exactly what I mean when I say Twitter is not real life, but has the capacity to become real life by getting shit in front of mainstream media producers. That is an entire Twitter op, the coconut tree shit. It went from Twitter to TikTok and it blew the fuck up. And now it's like a salient position. It's something that's getting coverage from Nightline. That's crazy.
Yeah.
You think you just fell out of a coconut tree?
Pop star Kesha even releasing a remix of her song Blow featuring Harris.
You think you just fell out of a coconut tree?
Dance. She's famously been portrayed by comedian Maya Rudolph on SNL.
The Democratic Party needs to stop taking black women for granted. Specifically one black woman. Me.
To her husband Doug and stepchildren, the 59-year-old political veteran is Mamala.
And I've had a lot of titles over my career. And certainly, vice president will be great. But Mamala will always be the one that means the most.
Her story began in the San Francisco Bay Area, a first-generation American born to an Indian mother and a Jamaican father who divorced when she was 6. For Harris and her sister Maya, their mother, Shamala, a breast cancer researcher, was their North Star.
Our mother was fierce in her belief that you will be judged based on your actions, not your words.
Her mother raised her and Maya as black women, because that's what they were. And it was a very intentful upbringing, and Kamala really, was proud of it.
A formative experience was being bused to school, something she talked about during a 2019 debate.
There was a little girl in California who was part of the second class to integrate her public schools.
Oh my God.
And she was bused.
Joe Biden's fucking face looks so different in 2020. Bro, I know that's not the point here, but god damn, bro. 2019, sorry, not 2020. Bro, what did they do to him? They cloned him. Now I believe it. I'm a clone guy now. They cloned him and they put an objectively worse version, an objectively worse clone.
To school every day. And that little girl was me.
Every school day of the year in Berkeley, the buses move almost 3,500 children across town.
To be able to be bused and go into this other environment, it transports you into a whole nother little, universe. It just expands your mind. If the bus driver needed to say something and the kids were talking, Kamala would make sure, people tamped down so that everyone can listen to what the bus driver was saying.
Is that to be on TV? Yeah. Is we?
recall her saying that she wouldn't be senator if she hadn't had that opportunity.
She went on to study at Howard, a historically black university, where she was on the school's debate team, preparing for her law school at UC San Francisco.
She did the work. There was nothing given to her. I mean, and it was hard. She was one to not let anyone tell her who she was.
She worked her way up the political chain, first as deputy district.
Chat, you already know it's ACAB, baby. Assigned cop at birth. Fuck you think that means, bro? You get cop instinct. Yeah, exactly. At the age of 6, she was already a cop.
Attorney in Oakland in the 1990s, prosecuting gang violence, drug trafficking, and sexual abuse. In 2004, she became the first woman in San Francisco's history to become district attorney. She was later elected California's Attorney General, the first female and person of color in that position, before going on to join the U.S. Senate in 2017. At the time, she was only the second black female to become a U.S. Senator.
I intend to fight. I intend to fight for Black Lives Matters. I intend to fight for truth and transparency and trust.
Harris became known for her work on the Judicial and Intelligence Committees, with a strong stance on civil and abortion rights, which she grilled future Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh about during his nomination hearing.
Can you think of any laws that give the government the power to make decisions about the male body?
I'm not thinking of any right now, Senator.
In 2019, she too ran for president.
Sick of this? Well, think about this.
Taking aim at Donald Trump in this campaign ad.
He's tearing us apart. She'll bring us together.
On the debate stage, she got tough with Joe Biden.
It was hurtful to hear you talk about the reputations of two United States senators who built their reputations and career on the segregation of race in this country.
Joe Biden then tapping her as his running mate in August 2020. Harris's debate skills were put to the test against Vice President Pence.
Joe Biden has been very clear. He will not raise taxes on anybody who makes less than $400,000 a year.
He said he's going to repeal the Trump tax cuts.
Mr. Vice President, I'm speaking.
Well, wait.
I'm speaking.
Her 2020 victory, another first.
And to the children of our country, regardless of your gender, our country has sent you a clear message. Dream with ambition, lead with conviction, and see yourselves in a way that others may not, simply because they've never seen it before. But know that we will applaud you every step of the way.
As vice president, Harris has taken the lead on the abortion rights.
Here's the other shit, though. Like, she literally hemorrhaged her staff throughout the entire 4 years and objectively was like goofy as fuck and routinely had issues with that. Routinely had issues with staffing. And I genuinely don't know. Like, I don't know what her actual ideological positions are. I don't know what her, like, what the staff looks like around her now. No, the demon is Klobuchar.
Rights issue following the Supreme Court overturning Roe v. Wade.
America must trust women. America must honor individual choice. America must defend freedom.
In 2021, President Biden tasking Harris to lead diplomatic efforts with 3 Central American countries to address the root causes of migration. The White House praising her work, but Republicans have hit her hard on the immigration issue.
Kamala had one job, and that was to fix the border. Now imagine her in charge of the entire country.
In 2021, after Harris was criticized for not visiting the southern border yet as vice...
Bro, they really cooked her. Like, oh God, Joe's such a piece of shit. Like, I can't believe the fucking missions that they put her on as vice president. They were like, what's our least strong position? That's right, the fucking border. All right, Kamala, you're responsible for the border. Like, the psych quest they sent her on was so humiliating. But beyond that, it was like objectively bad for her future career prospects.
In 2015, Harris launched her campaign for the U.S. Senate, aiming to succeed longtime California Senator Barbara Boxer. Her bid garnered endorsements from both former President Barack Obama and then Vice President Biden. Reflecting on election night in 2016, Harris described it as surreal for multiple reasons, not just her victory. I became a US Senator elect, the first black woman from my state and the second in the nation's history to achieve that role, she later wrote. As it became evident that Donald Trump would win the presidency, Harris scrapped her prepared victory speech, originally crafted in anticipation of the first female president, instead urging her supporters to remain committed to uniting our country. During her tenure in the US Senate, Harris served on the Senate Judiciary Committee and the Select Committee on Intelligence before launching her 2019 presidential campaign.
Vice President, she remained cagey in her response to NBC.
At some point, we are going to the border. We've been to the border.
In her very first overseas trip as vice president, she told Guatemalan migrants to not come to the U.S., drawing criticism from immigration advocates.
Do not come. The United States will continue to enforce our laws and secure our border.
While Republicans had previously hammered Biden for his age, the script has now been flipped. At 78, Trump is now the oldest presidential nominee in history. Trump reacting to the campaign shakeup on his Truth Social, posting a series of seething messages saying he will now have to start all over again. Trump himself was once a supporter of Kamala Harris. He donated $6,000 to her 2014 campaign for re-election as California Attorney General, including this check for $5,000. Harris heading to Wisconsin to campaign on Tuesday.
We have doors to knock on. We have people to talk to. We have phone calls to make. And we have an election to win.
Ready with her own message.
And are we willing to fight for it? And when we fight, we win.
President Biden returns to Washington, D.C. tomorrow.
We're going to begin this hour with a look at the surge in donations for Vice President Kamala Harris. Her campaign reports it has raised more than $100 million since President Biden stepped aside on Sunday and endorsed her. Top donors in Hollywood and on Wall Street have signaled their support. But can she compete with former President Donald Trump's ever-growing war chest? Remember, at one point, Elon Musk said he was going to donate $45 million a month. That's a lot. So Jolene Kent has been crunching the numbers. Jolene, good morning. Good to have you in the studio. It seems like there are a lot of numbers to crunch.
There are so many numbers to crunch, Gail. Good morning. And since Vice President Kamala Harris received President Biden's endorsement on Sunday, we've been hearing from some deep-pocketed Democrats.
She's a close supporter of AIPAC, spoke there multiple times. Israeli far-right people are not displeased about this. Dude, there are less than a handful of American congresspersons who have not spoken to AIPAC and are not like unimaginable ultra-Zionists, okay? And if you think the Israeli far right is actually stoked on a black Indian woman, I don't know what to tell you. I feel like you've never met the Israeli far right. No, they want Trump, okay? The Israeli far left wants Trump over Biden. Even they are like, what are you talking about? Do you not remember what happened when Obama was president? Obama gave him $38 billion, and they still consistently kept saying that he was dumb and black and Muslim, and that's why he did the Iran denuclearization agreement and also was a Jew hater. Like, that's how they talked about Obama. Obama gave him $38 billion over the course of 10 years.
Democratic donors hoping to make up lost ground in the fundraising battle against the former president.
Pretty crazy, yeah.
The cash and the calls are flooding in for Vice President Kamala Harris.
I had over 400 texts, emails, and phone calls from people saying, I want to raise money, I want to donate money, I want to be involved, let's go win this, how can I help?
John Hennis is the former finance director for Harris's 2020 presidential campaign.
And I actually see this short amount of time between now and the election to be a good thing, because we are all coming together as a party.
Former President Trump has a massive war chest. Can Vice President Harris catch up?
Yeah, there's no question.
Since Sunday, the campaign says it's raised more than $100 million, the largest one-day haul in presidential history, plus $150 million donated to Super PAC Future Forward, with more than 500,000 grassroots donors giving for the first time this cycle.
We are seeing everyone from the $10 donor to the $1,000 donor showing their support for the vice president.
What are you hearing from women donors?
There's just excitement across the board.
She's never backed down from a challenge.
Harris has also inherited $240 million that's been controlled by the Biden campaign.
We trust women to know what is in their own best interest.
She and her running mate can use Biden's campaign funds because she was already running with the president.
From the moment we take back the White House from...
And the pressure is on. The Biden campaign fell behind Trump in cash on hand for the first time last month as the former president drew the support of...
Imagine having this much support with zero charisma. I can't imagine it. The last time this happened was in 2020 when the dude was a cadaver. And by the way, you need to understand something. I think that played a big role in why Republicans were so insane afterwards. Like, they were spiritually so shattered by that reality where they were like, how could this cadaver defeat my God King Trump? It must have been cheating. There must have been like serious cheating going on. I think that actually played a role in why they became so nutty. It must have been the deep state. It must have been cheating. I could not comprehend how my God King Trump would ever lose to a fucking dead man. Okay? Because in 2020, and just like in 2024, this is a pro-Trump or anti-Trump race. That's it. That's it. This matchup would have looked really bad if it was a pro-Trump, anti-Trump matchup, and the guy still leading the ticket was genuinely dying. Now there's actually a race to begin with. There was going to be no race by the time November came around. That's the reason why they're fucking panicking.
Of some Silicon Valley billionaires like Elon Musk.
I think you're seeing a lot of money pouring into Trump's campaign because they want deregulation on, for AI, the internet, and all that stuff.
Hollywood director and Democratic donor Rob Reiner.
What are your colleagues and friends in Hollywood telling you about what they think of Vice President Harris?
Well, they like her. I mean, I hosted Vice President Harris a couple of weeks ago here at our house. Billy Crystal and a number of other people said, wow, I mean, this is somebody I haven't seen before.
Now, some major donors who regularly give to Democrats, they're still sitting on the fence. They're calling for an open convention, a mini primary, if you will, where Harris can still be challenged for the nomination. The group reportedly includes Netflix co-founder Reed Hastings and former New York City Mayor Michael Bloomberg and a few other powerful deep...
Yeah, good luck, bitch. Suck my dick. It's like donors do get a lot of play here, okay? They do, right? But make no mistake. If their wishes were completely antithetical to what people were demanding on the ground, I would have told you that in this previous media cycle. Okay? Like, it was a unique moment where like maybe some donors had their own aspirations and their own goals and their own agendas. But overall, everyone aligned in this very weird moment where people like Cenk, people like myself were completely aligned with Nancy Pelosi, right? And the donors were aligned with the actual popular interest of the Democratic Party, or the Democratic Party's base of support. That doesn't mean that big ticket donors get to sway or big ticket donors get to like change the nominee, for example. Like that's not how this works at all, and it won't work that way anyway.
Pockets in Silicon Valley.
Those are big names, but there are definitely bigger names on the other side. It feels like they're spending more and more money to reach a smaller and smaller number of persuadable people in the middle.
Yes, exactly. Persuadable people in certain swing states, and a lot of money you're going to see funneled in that direction. But what's so interesting is that you're seeing most of the big guns and the deep pockets coming off the sidelines within the moments after President Biden endorsed Harris.
So far, can you tell, is it a lot of small donations from people who have never donated before, or is it the big pockets?
So of the $100 million that's been raised by the campaign, according to the campaign, a majority, 60% of those are small donor people who've never donated before. So that's what makes up most of these donations.
And more people volunteering. I think it's interesting how quickly she seems to have caught people's attention and got people excited.
And what's interesting here, too, is the momentum. Can they maintain that momentum, continue raising those dollars?
See, we're going to be watching.
We're going to be watching.
Jolene, thank you very much.
US Vice President Kamala Harris launched her White House campaign with her vigorous critique of Donald Trump, framing the upcoming November election as a choice between a former prosecutor and a convicted felon. Addressing a crowd of about 3,000 in the battleground state of Wisconsin, Harris compared her Republican opponent to the fraudsters he had prosecuted in the past. In response, Trump attacked her record on border issues, posting on social media, "Line Kamala Harris destroys everything she touches." This rally came just a day after Harris secured the majority of Democratic delegates' support, positioning her to become the party's nominee. On Sunday afternoon, President Joe Biden announced his withdrawal from the race and endorsed his vice president, following intense pressure from top Democrats and donors after a poor debate performance against Trump in late June. Harris's nascent campaign saw a surge in donations, raising over $100 million in the 36 hours following Biden's exit. Bolstering her momentum, a new national poll from Reuters and Ipsos shows her leading Trump by 2 points, 44% to 42%. If you found this video interesting, then make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to this channel for more videos like this. And thanks for watching.